Imagine a world where, for one wild week, the rules of society flip upside down. Picture your boss serving you dinner, your neighbors gambling in the streets, and everyone trading gifts while laughing under flickering candlelight. No, this isn't a modern-day music festival or a chaotic Black Friday scene. It's ancient Rome during Saturnalia, a festival so electrifying it makes our wildest holidays look tame. This was a time when slaves dined like kings, the streets pulsed with reckless abandon, and the rigid Roman hierarchy melted into a whirlwind of joyful chaos. Welcome to ancient Odyssey, where today we're diving into the heart of Saturnalia, Rome's most outrageous celebration, to uncover what made it so unforgettable, and why it still echoes in our holiday traditions today. Let's set the stage. It's December in ancient Rome, around 200 BCE, and the city is buzzing with anticipation. The days are growing shorter, the air is crisp, and the winter solstice is approaching. For Romans, this isn't just a change of seasons, it's a cosmic moment. The solstice marks the rebirth of the sun, tied to Saturn, the god of agriculture, time, and renewal. Saturn was no small figure. He was the deity of a mythical golden age, a time when life was supposedly perfect. No war, no hunger, just abundance and equality. Saturnalia, held around December 17th to 23rd, was Rome's way of tapping into that myth, a week-long party to honor Saturn and chase away the gloom of winter. Think of it like a mix of Christmas, Mardi Gras, and a rowdy office holiday party, but with a lot more togas and fewer HR complaints. Now, Rome was a society obsessed with order. From senators in their pristine white togas to slaves toiling in the fields, everyone had a place, and you didn't step out of it. Status was everything. Your clothes, your speech, even where you sat at a banquet screamed your rank. But during Saturnalia, something incredible happened. That rigid structure got turned on its head. For a few glorious days, Romans embraced a state-sanctioned rebellion. Masters served meals to their slaves, who could eat, drink, and even sass their owners without fear of punishment. Imagine your CEO flipping burgers for the interns at a company picnic. That's the kind of role reversal we're talking about. Slaves could wear their master's fancy clothes, including the pileus, a felt cap usually reserved for freedmen, symbolizing a taste of liberty. It wasn't just symbolic, though. Slaves were allowed to speak freely, a huge deal in a world where a wrong word could mean a whip or worse. This wasn't just a private affair. The whole city joined the party. The streets of Rome transformed into a carnival of chaos. Gambling, normally a big no-no, was suddenly fair game. Picture dice games spilling out of taverns onto cobblestone streets, with everyone from merchants to magistrates betting like it's Vegas. Drinking was non-stop. Wine flowed like water, and sobriety was practically a sin. Romans exchanged gifts, too, but not the flashy kind we stress over today. They gave simple, heartfelt tokens. Candles, clay figurines, or little cakes called Sigillaria. These weren't just trinkets. They were symbols of light and warmth in the darkest time of year. Think of it like handing out Christmas cookies, small gestures with big meaning. One of the wildest parts of Saturnalia was the public revelry. Picture candlelit processions winding through Rome's narrow streets, with people shouting, "Io Saturnalia," the ancient equivalent of Happy Holidays, on steroids. These weren't orderly parades. They were raucous, with singing, dancing, and probably a few drunken stumbles. At the heart of it all was the King of Chaos, a mock ruler chosen for the festival. This guy, often a low-status person like a slave or a jester-like figure, was crowned to lead the festivities, poking fun at authority. Imagine electing the office prankster as CEO for a day, letting them make silly decrees while everyone plays along. It was absurd, hilarious, and a little rebellious, but it worked because everyone knew it was temporary. So why did the Romans, sticklers for control, let this happen? Saturnalia wasn't just a party, it was a pressure valve. Roman society was strict, and tensions between classes could simmer like a pot ready to boil over. By flipping the hierarchy for a week, Saturnalia let everyone blow off steam. Slaves got a taste of freedom, masters got to play the humble servant, and everyone could laugh at the absurdity of it all. It was like hitting the reset button. When the festival ended, the togas went back to their rightful owners, and order was restored, but with a renewed sense of unity. It's like when we Americans come together for Thanksgiving, bickering over politics, but still passing the mashed potatoes. Saturnalia reminded Romans they were all part of the same society, no matter their rank. The festival had deep roots in Rome's religious and cultural life. The festival kicked off with a grand public sacrifice at the Temple of Saturn, right in the heart of the Roman Forum. This wasn't some somber affair. Think of it like a community barbecue with a sacred twist. A priest would offer a young pig to Saturn, the god of agriculture and time, praying for fertile fields and a prosperous year. The statue of Saturn, usually bound with woolen strips to symbolize his imprisonment, a nod to his mythological overthrow by Jupiter, was set free for the festival, its feet unbound as a sign of liberation. Romans saw this as more than ritual. It was a way to tap into the Golden Age, that fabled era when Saturn ruled, and life was all abundance and equality. For Americans, it's a bit like the 4th of July, blending patriotic pride with a spiritual nod to something bigger. Except here it's less about independence and more about cosmic renewal. After the sacrifice, the real party began with a public feast that drew crowds from every corner of the city. This wasn't an exclusive gala for the elite. It was a free-for-all, with tables piled high with bread, meat, and wine, paid for by the state. Imagine a massive Thanksgiving potluck, but instead of your aunt's questionable casserole, you've got Roman delicacies like dormice and honey or spiced barley stew. Everyone was welcome, senators, shopkeepers, slaves, eating side by side in a rare moment of unity. This communal vibe was key to Saturnalia's magic. It wasn't just about indulging, it was about sharing, a reminder that even in a stratified society, everyone could break bread together. For us today, it's like those holiday food drives or community dinners where strangers become neighbors, even if just for a night. The gift-giving during Saturnalia was another standout feature, and it's where we start to see clear parallels with our own holiday season. Romans didn't stress over finding the perfect gift like we do at Christmas. Instead, they exchanged simple, meaningful tokens. Candles, called cerae, were a big hit, symbolizing the return of light after the solstice. Clay figurines, known as Sigillaria, were popular too, especially for kids. Think of them as the ancient version of action figures or stocking stuffers. Adults might swap books, small tools, or even gag gifts like a comb for a bald friend, showing off Rome's cheeky sense of humor. It's like our tradition of Secret Santa, where the thought counts more than the price tag. These gifts weren't just trinkets. They carried a deeper meaning, tying people together in a web of generosity that softened the edges of Rome's cutthroat social ladder. Saturnalia also had a knack for bringing out Rome's quirky side. Poets like Catullus wrote about the festival's spirit, urging friends to swap witty poems as gifts. Kids got in on the fun, too, receiving little toys or sweets. Imagine a Roman toddler unwrapping a clay doll while their parents stumble home from a procession. It's not so different from kids tearing into presents under a Christmas tree. Even the elite got swept up in the chaos. Senators might grumble about the noise, but they'd still host lavish feasts, inviting everyone from clients to freedmen. It was a rare moment when Rome's social walls came down, and you could see a patrician laughing with a plebeian over a jug of wine. One of the most fascinating aspects of Saturnalia was how it played with power. The King of Chaos, or Saturnalicious Princeps, was a figure who embodied the festival's topsy-turvy spirit. This wasn't a real king but a mock ruler, often chosen from the lower ranks, a slave, a freedman, or even a household jester. For a few days, this king got to call the shots, issuing silly commands like ordering everyone to dance or drink more wine. It was all in good fun, but it had a sharp edge. By letting someone of low status play the boss, Romans could laugh at authority without actually challenging it. Think of it like a modern office party where the interns get to roast the CEO. It's hilarious, but come Monday, the boss is still the boss. This controlled chaos was Saturnalia's genius. It gave everyone a taste of rebellion without burning the system down. The festival wasn't just about the big public moments. It spilled into homes, too. Families hosted their own feasts, inviting friends, clients, and even freed slaves to join. These dinners were lavish but relaxed, with hosts sometimes serving their guests themselves, echoing the master-slave role reversal. Picture a Roman matron pouring wine for her cook while everyone laughs over a shared joke. It's not so different from when we gather with family and friends, letting the usual formalities slide. Poetry was a big part of these gatherings, too. Writers like Martial and Catullus described swapping witty verses as gifts, kind of like how we might share funny holiday cards or post clever memes today. These home celebrations were where Saturnalia's warmth really shone, turning chilly December nights into moments of connection. But let's not romanticize it too much. Saturnalia's flips and freedoms came with limits. Slaves might dine like masters, but they were still slaves when the party ended. Some historians, like those writing in the 20th century, argue that Saturnalia was less about true equality and more about reinforcing the status quo. By giving the lower classes a brief taste of freedom, the festival reminded them of what they didn't have the rest of the year. It's a bit like letting kids stay up late on New Year's Eve. They love it, but they're still going to bed on time tomorrow. Still, for that 1 week, Saturnalia created a space where Romans could dream of a world without chains, even if it was just a dream. The festival's influence stretched far beyond Rome's borders and years. As the Roman Empire grew, Saturnalia spread, adapting to local cultures but keeping its core spirit of joy and inversion. By the time Christianity rose, Saturnalia's traditions, lights, gifts, and midwinter merriment started to blend into early Christmas celebrations. The church even set Christmas on December 25th, close to the solstice, partly to ease pagans into the new faith. When you light a Christmas candle or hang a string of lights, you're channeling a bit of Saturnalia's glow. It's a reminder that humans, whether in ancient Rome or modern America, crave moments to break free, come together, and find light in the darkest days. Saturnalia's legacy is also in its balance of chaos and order. Romans knew how to throw a party, but they also knew when to stop. The festival's end was like the morning after a big bash. Everyone sobers up, puts away the togas, and gets back to work. But that brief escape left them refreshed, ready to face another year. For us, it's like the post-holiday reset after New Year's, when we pack away the decorations but carry the warmth of the season forward. Saturnalia showed that a little controlled chaos can strengthen a community, not tear it apart. As the festival wound down, Romans returned to normal life, but the glow of Saturnalia lingered. The candles, the gifts, the sense of togetherness, it all left a mark. If this sounds familiar, it should. Our modern holiday season, from Christmas to New Year's, owes a lot to Saturnalia. The gift-giving, the lights, even the idea of a midwinter bash to lift our spirits, all have roots in this ancient Roman party. So next time you're sipping hot cocoa or untangling Christmas lights, think of Saturnalia, when Rome let loose and showed the world how to celebrate in style. So as we wrap up this journey through Rome's wildest festival, let's raise a glass to Saturnalia, a celebration that reminds us to loosen up, share a laugh, and maybe even let the underdog lead for a day. If you love diving into this ancient party, hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and drop a comment below. Tell us what modern holiday you think captures Saturnalia's spirit. Keep exploring the ancient world with Ancient Odyssey, and we'll see you in the next adventure.